Welcome to The Strategic Edge, the podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners who want a competitive edge in the market. They want to be seen as the expert in their industry, and they're looking for cutting edge and innovative strategies that work across industries to help them scale their business like a boss. My name is Carden, and I'm your host. Welcome to the show. Hey everyone, it's Carden here, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of The Strategic Edge. And I have a really interesting guest today that's joining me that I know you're going to really get a lot from, and because his name kind of says it all, Michael Batman Cohen. And Michael is actually the founder of Wayne Technologies, which is a contract sourcing and recruitment training organization. So, Michael Batman, welcome to my show.
Hello, Anne. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. How are you?
I am 2020's version of awesome, whatever that looks like.
Great. So I know we're just going to jump into the elephant in the room. Where did the Batman thing come from, right? I know that's what everybody's thinking. Before we get into the other stuff.
Yeah, it's great. My normal jerky response is, "Oh, he's a comic book character." People like, yeah, I know. So it's about 4.5 years ago, and I was working for a boutique staffing agency in New York, doing all tech placements, and got a bunch of really cool clients, right? Spotify, Bloomberg, stuff like SoundCloud. And I was like, how can I brand me? Right? Me specifically, so people want to work with me. And I started thinking about all right, Michael Cohen. Michael's, I think, is one of the most common white first names in America. Cohen is one of the most common Jewish last names on the planet. Also, I'm Christian, so that doesn't really work. And I'm like, MC, my initials. Right around this time, President Trump, he started letting his lawyer do these press conferences, and his lawyer was objectively kind of a rough person to do these, and he did some real difficult kind of jerky interviews that got millions and millions of views, and his name, of course, Michael Cohen. So I realized you're never getting on the front page of Google unless you do something that you don't want to be on the front page of Google for. So I never read comics as a kid. I read my first when I was 19. Yes, it was a Batman comic. And I fell in love with the psychology of the hero. And he started back in the 30s and 40s, known as the world's greatest detective. I'm a recruiter. I'm a sourcer. That's what I do, right? He gave DC Comics their namesake, Detective Comics. So I thought, you know what? Let's give it a shot, see what happens. Winds up, it just stuck.
It's great. No, it's great. I know when I kind of reached out to you and I thought, this has to just be interesting. I'm sure this is just going to be great.
Very least funny.
No, I love it. So Mike, do you like to go by Mike or do you like to go by Michael?
Mike, unless I've done something that has annoyed you. Okay. And then it's Michael. And if I've really crossed the line, you can go Michael Harrison.
We'll see how many times you get called Michael by the end of the show, right?
Yeah. Less than three.
So Mike, tell everybody about Wayne Technologies and what you do, and all about your company.
Sure. So for anybody who hasn't picked up on it, Wayne Technologies is named after Bruce Wayne's company in the comic books, Wayne Technologies, that develops all the Batmantles. That is not what I do.
I actually did not pick up on that.
Yeah. That's people ask Wayne Technologies.
And I know. I'm thinking. I thought that too. I'm like, this doesn't really, it's not his name or anything.
Yeah, I've had people reach out like, "Hey, Wayne." I'm like, nope, nope. Appreciate it though. So. We are a sourcing and recruiting company. So companies typically come to us when they're looking for a solution that isn't paying a recruiting agency that 20 to 25% of the first year's base salary, when they typically prefer data over butts in seats. And so we do all top of funnel sourcing. So talent mapping, finding the candidates, their contact information, and then all of the messaging as well. And so it's a very, very unique approach. I think there's one other company on the planet doing it right now.
Wow. No, this is completely different from what I thought you actually did. So.
Yeah. Okay. I do a pretty poor job of explaining it. I hate self-promotion. So when I speak at conferences and stuff, I'm like, hey, I'm Mike. People call me Batman. I do sourcing and recruiting and stuff. And then I go right into what I do. So people are like, wait, what? What is that? So I partner with over 35 different recruiting tech companies so that I'm able to kind of write about them in the avenues I write and present about them. And then also I get the advantage of using them, which offers my clients and people in general who want advice, a really interesting perspective, because organizations, there's no organization on the planet that I've ever heard of, and I've been saying this for 2 years now, who uses all of the tools that we're blessed enough to use. So it gives a unique perspective, a unique approach.
Okay. So let me just be clear. So companies are looking for people and they come to you.
Yes.
Recruiters are looking for people and they come to you.
Yes.
Okay. And people looking for jobs also?
Nope. No. Yes, they do. But because I have a heart for helping this community out, it's our company's mission is to be the rising tide that lifts all boats in the recruiting space. So yes, but that's not how I make business.
So it's basically companies. Okay.
It is.
Great. Awesome. So let's talk about some business stuff here. So what's sort of your process and your tools?
Yeah. So our process, we try to make everything transparent. It's based on a deliverable. So I've noticed our industry, unfortunately, just the way it's set up, I don't think it's anybody's fault, is very, like my secret sauce, right? This is our way of doing it. I am open kimono about everything. Like, here's exactly what we do. Here are the templates for the emails that we write. Take them, right? Here's the process. Here's the form. I've walked people through it visually. It's like, hey, here's exactly what we do. If you can do this, you should do that, right? So we have our clients fill out an intake form online. We use a company called Typeform. It's beautiful, beautiful forms. And basically what that does, as opposed to doing an intake call, is it forces the hiring manager and or recruiter to commit to something. There's no more wishy-washy of like, well, I'll know when I see it. No one writes that on an intake form.
Right.
Right. So you have it in writing. And then for newer clients or more obscure roles, we will do phone calls with the clients. Brand new locations as well. So we've worked on every continent except Africa and Antarctica, and we've done any type of role you can think of, from sales to any practice of engineering, all the way up to CFOs and members of boards. So after we do that, what we do is we take 1 week and put together what we call batch one typically. And that's 50% of the candidates that we've guaranteed. We'll guarantee anywhere from typically right around 100 to 150 candidates per what we call this sprint. For some more common roles, we may get up to 200. For some really obscure, maybe down in the 75, range. And our first batch we send over, and it's all in. We do everything in Google Sheets. We share it with the client so they can see every person we're delivering, every single piece of data: company, years enrolled, title, LinkedIn URL, email addresses, and we rank everybody against the job. So that way they know, yes, we've looked at the profile, and anybody that we're kind of questioning, we mark as like maybe message, and we give a no. With that is also included a dashboard that shows every bit of our work, like exactly how many profiles did we look at? Not a guess, the exact number, and what platforms did they come from, right? Where they seek out, was it HireTool? Was it Loxo? Was it the Blue Devil or LinkedIn? Right. So they can kind of see our work the entire way through. We also share all of our Boolean with our clients. So that way they can see what we're searching for. If they can read Boolean, if not, then we can obviously tell them what it says. And hopefully they use it in the future. So once we deliver that, we'll calibrate if needed. Then a week later, we deliver the second half of all the candidates, and we start all of our messaging. So we typically do our messaging from our client's domain. So that way it's not like an agency reaching out, it's them reaching out. And we write a 5 email sequence that we send out over the course of about 8 to 10 business days. And we write our messaging based on DISC assessments. So we do not write a different one for each personality type and try to assess each person. But in 5 emails, one of the emails is written in a way that the content would best be received by a high D, and then another by a high I, a high S, a high C. And then the 5th one's a picture of my dogs because they're super cute. Yeah, they're super cute. And so many people just write back and say, hey, I'm not looking, but those are real cute dogs. Thank you, you know? And so we guarantee a 25% response rate.
So Mike, how big is your company? You keep saying we, so.
Yeah, it's myself and 2 other folks, Nikeo, who is my Nightwing, and Julia, who is my Wonder Woman. Okay. How did you get into this?
Oh,
I think probably like most people, I fell into it with no idea what I was doing. I was 21. I had graduated college a year early because I actually hated where I went to school. There was
I was going to say because you were just super smart.
No overachievement whatsoever. I just didn't like where I went to school, and I was over it. It was upstate New York, and I moved to Boston on a whim with my buddy who I was living with, and I was like, okay, you need a job. What are you good at? I'm good at talking. Okay, cool. So sales. Looked for an entry-level sales job, and one of the first jobs I interviewed for was an entry-level tech recruiter at what is now at least Workbridge, part of Motion Recruitment Partners, was Stride and Remington International when I joined them. And I just never left. I've just been in the industry ever since.
Interesting. So yeah, it's interesting how many people actually just fall into this type of thing that we do. I kind of fell into coaching and consulting too. It wasn't something I really set out to do. Taking all those years of experience and hey,
given back in a meaningful way to folks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think 2019, I met my first person who went to school knowing they wanted to be a recruiter. And I was like, what?
Really?
Yeah. Her dad owns a recruiting company. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. I was like, we'll give it a pass.
Yeah. So how do you get your clients? Because everything you do is virtual, right? You work all over already said all over the world. Yeah. So how do you get your clients? Just referrals?
This is an interesting one. And I've had this talk with a few people. We do no business development on purpose. I don't cold call. I don't prospect for business. I just don't like it. Honestly, I don't like it. I did it for 11 years running a full desk, and I don't care for it. So what do I do instead is I try to live by what our mission is, right? Our mission is to be the rising tide that lifts all boats in the recruiting industry. How do you do that? You give back. So if you work for my company, it is required that you create content that you deliver to the community for free, and that you donate your time to the community in some way. So I sit on the executive board for ATAP. I write for both SourceCon and Recruiting Daily and occasionally ATAP, which I should do more of, I guess. And I present at, 15 to 20 conferences a year. I do typically around that number of webinars, around that number of podcasts, mostly unpaid, with the intent of a few things. Teaching others and positively influencing the community. 2 is building my brand, right? Yes. And the awareness of who I am and what I do. And the 3rd is because I love it. And so how do I get most of my business? From just giving to the community freely, openly, and in a very genuine way. I'm very snarky. I'm very sarcastic and I don't typically hold that back with folks, and love it or hate it. Like, you always know what you're getting. There's none of that veiled professional appearance. And I wear t-shirts. It's what I do. When I present, I wear a t-shirt and then I put a blazer over it. Right. So I get all fancy.
Here's my professional side. Yeah.
Here you go, everybody.
Yeah.
I think that, with everything happening in particular, it was a right place, right time, right? It wasn't me. I as I said, I'm a Christian. I believe it was a God thing for me that my skill set in speaking my overwhelming desire to be genuinely and authentically myself lined up really well with kind of what's been happening over the last year and the need and what I believe is the need for that.
Fantastic. No, that's, I'm such a believer too. And I have a strong faith and a believer in God, and he's always guided every step and every path and helped me start every business and, success in those businesses. And so, no, I love that. That you took something that really just felt really purposeful to you. And it also was something that you knew you could be good at, and, merge the two. In my opinion, there's no better business than to take something you're really good at and something that you also love. And, you can make a difference and you can make money. So it's like the best of everything. To me, that's the best business.
The money comes. It's just not our focus, right? Like, yes, we need to make money. Like I need to pay for stuff in my life, right? I need to make sure that my Julia and Nikeo are well taken care of and stuff. But like at the end of the day, it's growing ourselves, it's growing the industry and genuinely doing good, knowing that we will do well as a result.
Yes. No, I love it. I love it. So what are some things, let's talk about some things maybe along the way that, were tough in building your business. You've been in it 15 years. That actually exceeds most businesses, right? Unfortunately, the failure rate for small business and entrepreneurs is very, very high. I think it's about 97% if those statistics are accurate in 10 years. And here you are 15 years.
Well, so my company's been around 3.
It's been 3. Okay.
My company. Yeah, I've been in the space about that long. I like cover my beard. I'm like more than 2 years. If you're listening to this, I have gray in my beard. But the business has been around for over 3 years. And my understanding is that like 80% or so of small businesses fail in their first 3 years. So
that's right.
I had a very nice dinner with my wife when we hit the 3-year and 1 day mark.
We're on our way, honey.
That's right. Okay, cool. Another 20% to beat out, and like we should be there. No, I had a lot of struggles. I had personal struggles going on when I started the business. If you've seen any of my talks in the last year, you know this. If you haven't, here you go. So in my life, I battle addiction. In a 12-step program, almost 4 years now. And I was at a very rough point in all of that when I started my business. I was at a pretty low point. I was coming out of it, but like still at a low point. And, by the grace of God for me and also my wife, who's the only reason I believe I'm standing here or talking to you today, legitimately. I was able to kind of transition, and the talk I just gave was kind of that osmosis effect of recovery in my personal life, how it translated to my professional life. And so I just put together a talk that I'd given for the first time at the end of last year, and then 2 more times this year about addiction. And how we all struggle with that. Everybody has an addiction. If you don't believe so,
in some way, shape, or form.
Connect. Connect with me. I'll explain to you how you do. And it's not a bad thing. It's just understanding what that is, and then realizing that as recruiters, we all have addictions. And if you don't think so, ask yourself, what would I do if LinkedIn went down? Like, oh my gosh, right? If there's a thing that you hinge on for your business, it's probably something to look at, right? So I was struggling with that just on a personal level of like keeping my act together and finding my way in life while trying to do the business. So for the first almost entire year, I was too scared to go out on my own, right? I'm dealing with all this recovery stuff and stuff with my wife and everything. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to consult to other recruiting agencies, right? I was scared. Like, what happens if I fail? What happens if I don't make any money? What happens if I can't provide for my family? Which, by the way, is totally bogus. My wife has always made more money than me. So like, I can say what I want. That's very obviously male ego and pride. So I was too scared for literally. I was just afraid for a year. And so I did these contracts with 2 other recruiting agencies and kind of helped them get some training established, some tooling processes, et cetera. And after the second one ended, I was like, what am I going to do? I don't want to keep doing that. I'm like helping other people to get established to make money, And I had a very great talk with my life coach. I had a great talk with my wife, and I had a very direct and uncomfortable talk with my sister, who's become one of my best friends, who all in their own ways told me like, hey, like, go do this. Right. And the big one was my wife telling me, go do this. Like, you're good at what you do, and I will support you and us so that you can do this. And it was a life-changing sentence to hear. And so in 2018, in September, I was like, I'm going to do this. This is going to be awesome, right? And so what did I do? Contingent recruiting agency. It's what I did for 11 and a half years, right? I know how to do that. Mm-hmm. So I did that for like 3 months or so and realized, oh no, wait. This still sucks. I still don't like it.
I forgot I didn't like it.
Yeah, I'm just now not getting a paycheck every 2 weeks.
Now I don't like it for myself, and it's not paying me either.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. It was around that time I spoke at my first conference. Mm-hmm. Todd Raphael from ERE, he's now I think at Eightfold, gave me a chance to speak. I literally asked, like, can I speak at your conference? And he was like, have you spoken before? And I was like, no, but I'm pretty funny. So he did. He let me speak at ERE.
I love funny. Yeah, if you're funny, you get to speak.
Everybody likes funny. That's why I tell people use memes in your emails to people, because like if it's funny, everybody from CFOs of companies down to entry level salespeople, everybody likes funny.
There's a gold nugget, everyone. There's a good tip.
It's everybody loves funny. It's one of the top motivating behavior motivating emotions. Mm-hmm. And so after speaking at the conference, I met a ton of great folks and realized, okay, I love this conference scene. Like I'd never been, this was incredible. I also had met Nin Tran, who's one of the founders of HireTool, an AI sourcing platform. And he liked my talk. We got along really well. And he said, hey, we'd love to have you as like an advocate, right? We'll give you a seat on our platform if you'd be open to like writing about us or, being an advocate, an evangelist. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And that led to a conversation with Jeremy, who's now at Seek Out. He was at Hiring Solved, which led to a conversation with Seek Out, which led to a conversation with Engaged Talent, which led to a conversation with blah, blah, and it spiraled, right? To a point now that like I have to be super selective of working with other tech. And what that enabled me to do is give companies a really unique perspective around, hey, what is the best tool for our use case? There is no best tool. I have my favorites. I have the ones that I think work best, but they're not the best tool, right? You can't ask a contractor building your house, like, hey, what's the best tool for building a house? Right? If they're like a hammer, I'm like, you're fired. There's absolutely no way you can build my house with a hammer. And so I started writing about that and presenting and did a bunch of research on AI. I'm doing seminary, very part-time.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah. My end goal, in life, is to plant a church in a very difficult area. Meaning when I say difficult, I mean like New York, San Francisco, Seattle, somewhere that pushes back real hard. And so I had to write a paper for it on any topic I wanted. And I'm like, artificial intelligence and recruiting. My professor thought I was mad, right? People are writing about like Greek translations and stuff in the Bible. I'm like, artificial intelligence in the recruiting industry. Just like, okay. And so I did a bunch of research and I was able to kind of write about it and become at least a little bit of a subject matter expert. And it enabled me in that time to present more, to write more, to get my name out more. And I realized, okay, this for me, I think is going to be my key to success. Is giving back, sharing information that I have a unique ability to acquire.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, such great things that you're talking about. And I want to also kind of point out here, with entrepreneurs a lot, with people getting into business, they have this idea that they want to do it, but they're so afraid to take the leap, and they try to figure out everything before they launch or before they start. They try to, I do think you need goals, right? And I think you have to have a vision. But a lot of times they stop themselves in their tracks before they ever even get anything going. Because the one thing I've learned building 6 businesses for myself is your business will never end up where you think it will end up. It always, that's why you just have to start. And you just have to let things, by exposing yourself, which is what you did. You got out there. You put yourself out there, you exposed yourself, you had conversations with people, you made connections, you built your network. Though that is open doors that I would bet did not think about 3 years ago that your business would be in this place.
I actually didn't even come into this with goals and a vision. Honestly,
actually, I should say most people don't, right?
Yeah. I started doing this because this is. I used to be really embarrassed about this, but I realized like it's just part of my story, just like addiction, just like anything else, right? I've been fired from every job I've ever had.
The true entrepreneur.
Yeah. And it winds up. I'm obviously at least okay at recruiting. I just make a bad employee.
Yeah.
Because I want to keep changing what I do, right? I have OCD, I have ADHD.
You get bored, yes. That is a true entrepreneur. It is.
Yeah.
We're all, I think, a little ADD.
And Adderall's great and all. I have a prescription for Adderall, but like it's still, I need to like here, and then I get bored and I want to change what I'm doing, try this and try that. And so what I've learned for me and for any other people thinking about being entrepreneurs is just understand why you want to be an entrepreneur, and then what your actual, like, I guess you could use the word goal, but like, what's the impact?
Yeah.
If the impact is, I want to earn a lot of money, probably don't be an entrepreneur.
Well, it depends. If you want to earn a lot of money because you want to give, or you have a bigger vision or a bigger mission.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's that, right? Like my wife is employed with Fortune 500 companies, always has, because she wants to save enough money that when I'm doing my church thing, she wants to start a nonprofit to help women who've been through difficult situations and times. So like for her, that's she just wants the money to do this other thing. For me, I want to positively impact the business. And also save money because planting a church is super expensive, right? So like what is the reason behind it? And the reason could simply be like, I'm tired of working for other people. I think there's a way that I can do this better. And if that's the case, you better be able to articulate that. Because when I talk to other business owners who own recruiting agencies, and I'm like, cool, what makes you guys different than other agencies?
Oh, no.
I hear
hope people do that.
Oh my God. Well, we're really consultative, and we care about all of the candidates and clients. I'm like, oh, that's so funny because
who else could say that?
I talk to, right? Yeah. We actually hate people. We don't really care about our clients. We just want to make money. Like, of course, but what's the actual difference? Give me a tangible or tactical difference.
No, those are good points. I mean, that's the same thing when I'm helping people structure, working with, I kind of have two sides to my business. So I work with small business owners to help them really grow and scale and get a life, not live their business. But then I also work with people who want to get into like coaching and consulting, to package everything up and, structure everything in a way that it's going to help them grow and scale their business, but also build the impact and everything that they want. But a lot of times they can't articulate that because they can do so many things. They don't know how to really streamline it and pull things together and all of that. So very much, like what you're talking about, but most of the time they don't have any kind of a goal. They sort of have a vision of what they want, but most often I just want to work for myself. I want that freedom. I want to make more money than I could probably make working for someone else. But I want this to be sort of life-changing, but then I also want to give back, and I want to be able to do, other things in my life and not be living my business. And so I had a point I was going to make that just sort of slipped my mind with all of that. But
that's a tough one. When I hear people who are like, I want to own my own business, I want to have more freedom. I'm like, oh, really? I have way less freedom now that I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I can do what I want.
Yes.
But then I could also fail. So like I work way more than I ever have for any other company while I'm working for myself. So
yeah. Well, So to that point, that when you're building your business to a certain level, yes, that is absolutely where you are. It looks like you're drinking vanilla pudding.
It is cappuccino. Cappuccino. My wife is so awesome.
It looks like it's vanilla pudding that you're drinking. So okay,
it's mayonnaise. It's mayonnaise.
That man is drinking vanilla pudding.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mike. One of the things in the beginning when you're starting a business, I always, my favorite saying is, you want to work 100 hours for yourself so you don't have to work 40 for someone else, right?
That's right.
But it is that way when you're first starting. And the one thing that keeps people in business stuck in that place is they don't think outside themselves. So they don't try to build something around them. That's where the freedom comes in. That's where, you have to scale your business to a point where you can step away. If you have to have control over everything, you will never have a business. You'll just have a job. And so they're two very different things. You can build a company or you can build a job and an income. And I always say, if you're wanting to do even bigger things, you've got to build a company, or you've got to build something outside of yourself that doesn't require all of you all the time. And that's a true business. So that's
interesting.
Yeah. So that's a lot of times when people get into business because they have a passion or they're good at something, they start out that way. But then either the business takes on a life of its own and they get inundated in the business, or they don't realize that they should be trying to build beyond themselves. Because that truly is where the impact can happen. That's where, think about it. You're one person. You can only do so much, right? How much impact can you really make if you're stuck in your business doing all the stuff? So if you truly want to make a bigger impact, you have to start thinking like a CEO, and you have to start wearing different hats, and you have to start moving that direction. What is that end game that you really want to get to? What is that? Is that to keep doing everything you're doing right now, even though you love it? Or is that to have something bigger and better and a bigger impact? So you've got to shift your mindset in how you're thinking about your business, because your business is the tool that you're using. That's really all it is. I always say, your baby has to grow up at some point if you really want something bigger, or you have to be happy with where you are. Does that make sense?
I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with that.
Let's have this conversation.
Yeah. So I just finishing reading the book Company of One, which has altered my entire mindset around this and caused me to really think to myself, do I want to grow a company? And the answer is pretty unequivocally no.
Right. That's not for everyone.
I don't. Not. Yeah. And so the question then becomes, right, do I love what I'm doing? Yes, I do. Can I personally, and I know this is not the case for everybody, can I personally impact the entire community around the world as one person? And the answer is yeah, through webinars and podcasts and conference talks. And if you don't like conference, speaking, right, you're going to be limited to what your company can do.
Sure.
Period, end of story. Right. So for me, it's what's important. Positive impact in the community is really important. Having time to have that impact on the community, making enough money that I can put money away to plan for my church in the future, and having some semblance of work-life balance at some point. And so the book talks about if you want to grow a company, understand that you as a business owner, your job will inherently change.
Yes.
So you're going to have to then work, right? Stephen Covey always says, you working on the business or in the business.
Right.
And that changes at some point with some level of growth. For me, I hate managing people. I hate it. I also hate all the administrative and operational stuff involved in running a business. And so it's okay, you don't like the management piece. You don't like the operational piece. And you're thinking of hiring more people to do this job for you so that you don't have to do the job you like and you can instead manage them and do this. So for me, it's really coming out to, and part of what this book preaches, and I'm still finding my way in this, right? Like you said, small business, what you're doing tomorrow might be different than what you're doing today. So for now, I'm literally planning through what does the business need to generate so that I can earn the amount of money that I want to earn. My Julia Nikeo can earn the amount.
Those are goals.
Is fair. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. I have those now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I should have had these years ago. And now it's like, okay, so if I need to earn X to be able to travel, put money away, provide for the people who work for me and my family, then great. Anything on top of that's gravy. But am I working for gravy, or am I instead working for that work-life balance? And so for me, my goal is to, as of right now, again, this may change next year when we talk around this time, I may have 10 employees and be laughing at this version of me.
I'm going to point this all out to you.
Yeah, that's right. It's great. I'll have 2 contradictory podcasts.
My fat man, you remember this?
Yeah. Hey, remember this video?
Yeah.
Boy. So, but for me, it's, I'm kind of assessing why would I grow a big company, right? The impact, to your point, agree, but I don't think the impact for me in my business comes from just the work we're doing. I think it actually comes more from like the time we spend in the industry.
Yeah. And one thing that I guess, you bring up a good point, and this is one thing that I do want to point out. Different businesses, I guess I should say, are going to require some different things. Technology has made it easier for one person companies. You can be running, I work with a lot of marketing agencies, and they can be running funnels in the background with a VA, and they're often, wherever in the world, right? The laptop lifestyle. So, technology has made that easier. It really is going to be dependent on the kind of business you have. I think too.
I agree with that.
To your point, but the thing is, if you want to have a business that you don't really have to be in, you're going to have to do something different. But it does come down to, what do you want? Everyone doesn't want to grow a big company. Everyone doesn't want to make $1 million. Everyone doesn't. It really does come down to, what do you want? But here's the thing. You have to realize what that is. And then you have to build your business around what it is you want.
Yes,
not
and
the other way around.
changing.
Right.
And be comfortable changing that, right? When I started, I knew for a fact I was never going to hire anybody. For a fact. Never, ever going to have an employee. Now I have 2, right? And then when I hired both Julia and Nikeo, they're such blessings. I'm like, okay, I'd love to have it so we have like 20 people, max, just 20, right? And then now I'm like, I don't know that I want to grow much.
And this is how it happens.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's why I said, like, next year, I don't know, but like for where I am in the season that I'm in right now, it's trying to understand, what can I do with what I have? What's the max that we can ROI really that we can generate with us and our processes, and then how can we increase that ROI based on not adding more headcount, but evolving in different ways. So.
But that's where you have to realize you're going to hit a ceiling. You can't, you are. And that's where people have to make the decision. Do I grow this thing, or am I happy with where I am? And that was really kind of the point I was trying to make. Because everything has limits until you do something to go to that next level. Completely. So that was really where I was coming from when I said that, when your business gets to the point where, okay, now it can't grow anymore doing things the way you are, you're going to have to step out. And now you have to start working on the business. Maybe you have to hire more people. That requires more money. And it truly is that second level where businesses typically decline, where businesses get stuck, where they start to have problems. It's in that growth phase that they struggle, because everybody can start a business and kind of be successful, just going out and selling their thing and, fixing the toilet, the plumber that can go out and fix the toilet and all that. But then he's like, I'm kind of tired. I'd maybe like to bring in some help, and I could make more money and I could help more people. And that's the natural progression, right? And so that's the place where people start getting stuck. And so that was really kind of the point I was making. But no, there's no right or wrong. It's what aligns with you and what feels good to you and your company. I've said, I don't care about growing a huge company, because I've built lots of businesses. I've sold lots of businesses. I get to do things in people's businesses. I'm entertained in my business, and I get to do different things, and I get to do all the things that I love. And so, very much like you, yes, I want to make good money, but I have reasons why I want to make good money, but I don't want a humongous company to do that. But I'm just at that place in my life.
You actually brought up, I think, probably the most poignant thing for me personally earlier when you said the best combination that you can come up with is doing something you love mm-hmm. and something you're good at. And ideally, mm-hmm. they're the same thing. Yeah. Because that comes down to, for me, right? And I imagine you're probably in a similar boat now after you've had all the experiences that you've had and the successes you've had, is I'm doing a thing every day that I love. Right. And there's that old quote, like, if you're doing something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Mm-hmm. That's crap. That's not true. You're still working. Yeah. There's still things you're going to do.
There's still stuff you're going to have to do that you don't like. That's right.
Right. But for me, it's maximizing the stuff I do like mm-hmm. and realizing what does good money mean to me. Mm-hmm. Right. Like, I think people throw out these numbers based on the prestige or the ego or the whatever. I'm like, mm-hmm. I want to earn $1 million a year. Mm-hmm. I want to earn $500,000 a year. And it's like, cool, totally cool. If that's your thing.
I know a lot of $5 million a year business owners that are flat broke. So, hey.
Right. And that's the whole thing is like, what do you actually need to earn to live the lifestyle that that's you want, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, it's not $1 million. It's not 700,000. It'd be great. I'm not going to turn it down.
Well, first of all, you can have a very wonderful lifestyle with a couple $100,000 as long as you're not spending it all.
Yeah.
But are you going to get the freedom? That's the thing. I think there is a difference, and that's the thing. If you don't want to work 100 hours a week in your business, that's where you have got to reinvest back into your company, and you've got to kind of start stepping away. Otherwise, that was really kind of the point I was making. Is it comes to a point where it can't grow.
Right. And if that ceiling mm-hmm. is not above where you want to be, mm-hmm. then you have a choice, right? You're either going to live under the means you want to, or you have to, get off the pot, as they say. I'm blessed that number for me is under my ceiling. Yeah. So I know what we could be capable of. And I know that in order to be truly happy, not work 100 hours a week, save a bunch of money, I can actually do that and still do the job the way that, mm-hmm. that I love it. But two things on that. Number one, very rare, I think, in talking to business owners to find folks who genuinely love the thing that they're good at. Mm-hmm. They just tend to be really good and then try to capitalize on it, which is cool. Number two is I'm super blessed to have an overwhelmingly supportive wife. Mm-hmm. Who has consistently made more money than I have. So we have also the double income, and we don't have, and we're not planning on having kids. Mm-hmm. So we have those $1 million expenses that people have, mm-hmm. the little, so each one of them is like $1 million average now. I
have 4-year-old triplet grandbabies. So, fortunately my son does well, but he's in the IT space. So he does well, but so you talk about those little $1 million $1 million people. Yeah, he's going to need a lot of money.
That's right. That's exactly right. And so when thinking through stuff, it's like, what is your total scenario, mm-hmm. right? Because my total scenario is my wife and I both work from home. We can live anywhere realistically on the planet that we want to. We're not going to plan on having kids. So location really can be, where's the least expensive place for us that mm-hmm. has scuba diving? That's what we care about, right? Mm-hmm. And our 2 dogs who are super spoiled. Yeah. And then it's, okay, what do we need to earn in order to get to where we want to be and to have the most impact mm-hmm. that we can have with our life?
Yeah.
So, but it is, to your point, it's a holistic view. And if you're right, as you said, you're going to hit a ceiling. You have to at some point, no matter how many times you go through and optimize your process and optimize your tooling, at some point you're going to catch technology and go,
you'll have to make a decision. That's right. No, and every business that stays around hits that. I mean, every single one. There's not a business out there. Even myself, with my services, I hit a ceiling, right? Where, okay, now if I want to serve more clients, I'm going to have to restructure my business. And that might mean I have to bring in a little help or, to do some other things. And so there's no right or wrong answer. The only thing I would say is that, and this is what I tell people all the time that get into business out of their passion or whatever, and they say, well, I'm not focused on money. Well, as long as you have a backup, you're good. Okay. But if you don't, you've got to focus. You've got to remember you started a business to make an income the money has to be a piece of it. And if you kind of don't focus on that, or you don't think about that, or you don't give any thought, that's why businesses fail. So I have to put that out there.
Oh yeah.
And 87% fail in 3 years and 97 in 10 because people come into business thinking, well, this is what I love, and I just want to do it, and I don't really care about money, and you have to do both. It doesn't have to be either or, and it should not be either or. And if it is either or, if you're focused only on money and you don't care about how you treat people and how the integrity in your business and all that, you won't succeed. And if you only care about your passion, and then it's kind of a hobby and you're playing, and it's not really a business if you're not focused on a business, building something. So I have to, I'm a business consultant, right? So I have to put that out there, because a lot of people don't think that way when they start their business. And you really do have to think about it that way. Otherwise, you are just kind of making an income, and that's all it's ever going to be.
Yeah. Well, there is a third option to that as well.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
You could win the lotto.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
Or you could be Batman.
Because,
and he's already, really well off and all of this.
Yeah. If you have a passion and you just want to pursue that and you don't care about making money, that's totally fine. Just make sure you win the lotto before you do that. In which case, you're totally right. You'll be super successful. Not probably in your business, but in life, because you won the lotto.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm just really a believer that if you do things, and if you structure things in the right way, and you have integrity, and you do the right things in your business, and you really understand, you learn about business, and you learn about marketing and sales and all the things, and you figure out, okay, what is it I want this thing to become, and what does that look like in my life? And if you do those things and you kind of have that roadmap, I think anyone can be successful. I mean, it's just having, figuring out, where are you, where do you want to go, or where are you trying to get to? And then what's the roadmap to make that happen? And there's no right or wrong here. It's a personal decision. But the thing is, it should be a decision that people are making, and not just letting the business swallow them up, which is what happens to a lot of people. You're very positive, and I love that. I think there are wrong decisions. I think there may be no right way, but you know what? Like, not getting with someone like you early on in your career, not having a career coach or a business coach, I'm telling you, is a wrong decision. That is wrong. It is a wrong decision,
right? Yeah. You unless this is your fourth business, kind of blah 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 blah. But even then, that's a wrong decision. Don't do that. Right? Because there are people who've done this before who can kind of walk you through some of the stuff so that you don't make those mistakes. Right.
Right.
So no right way to do it. Sure. Definitely some wrong ways, trying to do it on your own, not reaching out to people for help, not paying for help, and realizing that whatever your services cost, right. I'm sure they're reasonably priced, but expensive because of your successes and experience, that you're paying for the ability to not make the mistakes that you had to make to get the experience that you have right now.
It's why I actually became a coach and a consultant, because when I worked with one, it was such a game changer. And I thought, oh my gosh, why did I know, but I didn't know any. I mean, I didn't 29 years ago starting businesses.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have the luxury of technology and all of that. So yes, the game of business has changed, but the fundamentals haven't. That's right. The thing. You've got to have those fundamentals. But I know we are running out of time. This has been a great conversation. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun. So Mike, we're going to put all of your links and everything for how, if people want to reach out to you or they have a need for your services, we're going to put those links with the show notes. I want to thank you so much for the conversation.
Absolutely.
And I know that even people starting up, and, you've kind of heard it from someone here that has only been in business 3 years and sort of thinking like, oh, I love what I'm doing and all that. So I know you've heard a lot, both sides really here today.
Yeah. And
who knew?
There's no right answer. You have to do you, as long as the version of doing you comes with a ton of research, constant growth and learning, and to focus on both the ability to maintain and grow income while focusing on doing good, being good.
I love it. I love it. Well said, and way to wrap it up. So, all right, Mike, thanks again for being here. I appreciate it so much. And for everyone that is tuning in, make sure you subscribe to the Strategic Edge podcast. And until next time, you all go rock your business. And hey, if you need some help in your business, make sure you reach out to me. And if you need some help with getting those recruiting tools in place and all of that Mike does, reach out to him. And until next time, God bless you all. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.